Umirah.
Okay, please have a seat.
So, doctor, since yesterday I actually feels quite...
Whoa, wait a minute. The file. Thank you. Let's talk about the cause first, yeah? So, for the ambulance, transportation cost is about, let me see, 1,000. Then the appointment schedule for today is 200 ringgit. And let's see, oh yeah, the equipment that you will use, that one costs about 500 ringgit per rental. And then the medicine we'll talk about later when I check for your house. And that one usually one bottle about 300 ringgit. And then, oh yeah, if there's need for the appointment later, that one, the cost will be
you know what, doctor? I think I'm already feeling good.
Assalamualaikum. Hello everyone. In this video, we will present to you about Sustainable Development Goals 3, Good Health and Well-Being. My name is Farah Najdah and my group members are Hidayah, Navila, Umirah and Norliana. Our health and well-being are influenced by the settings in which we live. By 2030, 2/3 of humanity will live in urban areas. Cities provide an excellent opportunities for local government to protect and promote health at many levels. 23% of death caused by environmental factors. In fact, more than 90% of the world population has exposed to air quality levels that do not meet recommendation of the World Health Organization. Some 235 million people currently suffer from asthma, which is the most common non-communicable disease among children. 39% of adults are overweight. Obesity is one of the biggest health problems worldwide. And living in urban areas contributes to sedentary lifestyle. Health is not about medical and clinical services such as hospital. It is including health directive in all policies. The Sustainable Development Agenda, including SDG 3, is about ensuring healthy living, fostering well-being for all people at all ages, and promoting indicators to monitor progress. This can only be achieved through local actions. Good health includes a variety of aspects, and it is a global problem where each region faces its own challenges. According to a report by the World Bank and the World Health Organization, half of the global population still lacks access to essential health services, and 100 million people are being pushed into extreme poverty due to healthcare spending. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, are 17 goals with 169 targets that all UN member states have agreed to work towards achieving by the year 2030. They set out a vision for a world free from poverty, hunger, and disease. Health has a central place in SDG 3. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, underpinned by 13 targets that cover a wide spectrum of World Health Organization's work. Almost all of the other 16 goals are related to health, or their achievement will contribute to health indirectly. The SDGs aim to be relevant to all countries, poor, rich, and middle income, to promote prosperity while protecting the environment and tackling climate change. SDG 3 aims to reduce the death rates of mothers, newborns, and children under 5, and strive for universal access to sexual and reproductive health care. They have a strong focus on improving equity to meet the needs of women, children, and disadvantaged populations in particular, so that no one is left behind. This agenda builds on the Millennium Development Goals (MDGs), which were 8 goals that UN member states signed in September 2000 to achieve targets to combat poverty, hunger, disease, illiteracy, environmental degradation, and discrimination against women by 2015. Since the creation of the Millennium Development Goals, there have been historic achievements in reducing child mortality, improving maternal health, and tackling HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and other diseases. In 15 years, the number of people newly infected by HIV each year has dropped from 3.1 million to 2 million, and over 6.2 million lives were saved from malaria. Since 1990, maternal mortality fell by 45%, and worldwide there has been an over 50% decline in preventable child death globally. Despite this incredible progress, AIDS is the leading cause of death among adolescents in sub-Saharan Africa, and 22 million people living with HIV are not accessing life-saving antiretroviral therapy. New HIV infections continue to rise in some locations and in population that are typically excluded and marginalized. Chronic and catastrophic disease remains one of the main factors that push households from poverty into deprivation. Non-communicable diseases like cancer and diabetes, substance abuse, mental health, traffic and safety accidents, and the price of healthcare has a significant effect on the lives of people everywhere. Currently, 63% of all deaths worldwide stem from non-communicable diseases. The cumulative economy losses to low and middle-income countries from the 4 diseases are estimated to surpass $7 trillion by 2025. Additionally, there continues to be underinvestment in the social circumstances and environment factors affecting health. The job on HIV and health is far from done. Recognizing the interdependence of health and development, the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) provide an ambitious, comprehensive plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity, and for ending the injustices that underpin poor health and development outcomes. On a global level, we need to strengthen the healthcare systems to ensure that they help those who need it and to significantly reduce the number of deaths and illnesses related to hazardous chemical, environmental pollutions, and infectious diseases. Healthcare coverage needs to be accessible to everyone regardless of their incomes and residence.
Thank you, Farah, for the brief but concise introduction related to our topic for today. I, Hidayah Binti Illiyaszaidi, will continue this presentation by touching on the objectives in realizing SDG 3. In order to achieve SDG 3, which is ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being at all ages, UN has shared 13 targets that have been agreed globally. These targets are currently just under 10 years left to be achieved, supposedly with the target date of 2030. Now, let's carry on with the objectives one by one. The first objective being introduced is to reduce maternal mortality. The target being set is that by 2030, we'll be able to reduce the global maternal mortality ratio to less than 70 per 100,000 live births. Over 40% of all countries have fewer than 10 medical doctors per 10,000 people. Over 55% of countries have fewer than 40 nursing and midwifery personnel per 10,000 people. In Eastern Asia, Northern Africa, and Southern Asia, maternal mortality has declined by around 2/3. Every day in 2017, approximately 810 women died from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth. 94% of all maternal deaths occur in low and lower middle income countries. Young adolescents face a higher risk of complications and death as a result of pregnancy than other women. But maternal mortality ratio, the proportion of mothers that do not survive childbirth compared to those who do in developing regions, is still 14 times higher than in the developed regions. The second objective is to end all preventable deaths under 5 years of age. By 2030, it is hoped that preventable deaths of newborns and children under 5 years of age will end. All countries are currently aiming to reduce neonatal mortality to at least as low as 12 per 1,000 live births, and under 5 mortality to at least as low as 25 per 1,000 live births. In 2018, an estimated 6.2 million children and adolescents under the age of 15 years died, mostly from preventable causes. Of these deaths, 5.3 million occurred in the first 5 years, with almost half of these in the first month of life. Despite determining global progress, an increasing proportion of child deaths are in sub-Saharan Africa and Southern Asia. 4 out of every 5 deaths of children under age 5 occur in these regions. Children in sub-Saharan Africa are more than 15 times more likely to die before the age of 5 than children in high-income countries. Malnourished children, particularly those with severe acute malnutrition, have a higher risk of deaths from common childhood illness such as diarrhea, pneumonia, and malaria. Nutrition-related factors contribute to about 45% of deaths in children under 5 years of age. Next objective is to fight communicable diseases. It is hoped that by 2030, the epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and neglected tropical diseases and combat hepatitis, waterborne diseases, and other communicable diseases will end. In 2019, there are 690,000 people died from AIDS-related illnesses, with 38 million people globally were living with HIV. Tuberculosis remains the leading cause of death among people with HIV, accounting for around 1 in 3 AIDS-related deaths. AIDS is now the leading cause of death among adolescents in Africa, and the second most common cause of death among adolescents globally. Over 6.2 million malaria deaths have been averted between 2000 and 2015, primarily of children under 5 years of age in sub-Saharan Africa. The global malaria incident rate has fallen by an estimated 37% and the mortality rates by 58%. Fourth objective of SDG 3 is reduce mortality from non-communicable diseases and promote mental health. By 2030, the goal that has been agreed on is a decrease by 1/3 premature mortality from non-communicable diseases through prevention and treatment and promote mental health and well-being. Under SDG 3.4, Malaysia aims to reduce by 1/3 premature mortality from non-communicable diseases through prevention and treatment can promote mental health and well-being. The two indicators under this specific target is the suicide mortality rate attributed to cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, or chronic respiratory disease. Believe it or not, on 2020, mental health problems is the second biggest disease after heart disease in Malaysia. Our culture has created this environment of shame until the 1960s. Society sent people away if they had challenges managing their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Over time, we learned that we didn't have to be afraid. We learned how to help people get better. We become hopeful. What if we look past our fear of mental health and started to talk about it in a constructive way? What if, as a society, we use empowering words and healthy images to help people feel supported? Maybe then more of us could feel comfortable telling others when we are having a hard time. Maybe more people would get the help they need. And maybe one day we won't have to talk separately about mental health and physical health, but just health. To achieve all this, Malaysia has taken few initiatives. In order to move towards a smoke-free country, smoking ban has been applied to most restaurants. Apart from that, nullery has been established as one of the mental health care initiatives. Free vaccinations for 12 preventable major childhood diseases and HPV also have been applied on national immunization program. There is even takaful for mental health purposes and wakaf for addiction treatment clinics. Next objective being introduced is to prevent and treat substance abuse. The target to achieve this objective is by strengthening the prevention and treatment of substance abuse, including narcotic drug abuse and harmful use of alcohol. For target 3.6, which is to halve the number of global deaths and injuries from road traffic accidents by 2030, most of the countries have participated in creating awareness campaign. Apart from that, stricter compound also have been applied to certain traffic offences. In some countries, like South Korea, even more stringent driving tests have been applied to ensure prospective licensees are able to strictly follow traffic rules. These are among the efforts that have been made in order to reduce road injuries and deaths. Moving on, the next objective is universal access to sexual and reproductive care, family planning, and education. By 2030, they want to ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive health care service, including for family planning, information, and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs. Let's proceed to the next objective, which is to achieve universal health coverage. Here, financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, and access to safe, effective, quality and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all are expected to be achieved universally. Let's look at Malaysia context. Nearly half of Malaysians lack health coverage beyond public care. In 2019, the National Health and Morbidity Survey, NHMS, reported only 22% of population are insured with personal health insurance (PHI), with 36% of the uninsured population claiming that PHI is not necessary, and a staggering 43% of them unable to afford PHI. As for my personal overview, the problem that Malaysians facing are the fact that the netizens does not have personal insurance, as they felt that they are still young and healthy. the impact from this will lead them to have a financial problem or crisis when diseases strike and couldn't get a good quality health treatment. Our country are currently handling this issue by exposing the importance of having medical or life insurance for every Malaysian and suggesting them to get an insurance cover starting from young to ensure they could access to a good quality health and treatment, while they also could protect their financial from loss due to health treatment fee. I mean, talking about cost of healthcare in Malaysia is no longer laughing matter. As evident by Malaysia Health Insurance finding, there is an average about 15% annual increase in the cost of health treatment, which translates to doubling in price for every 6 years. According to WHO, Malaysia has a ratio of 1.281 per 1,000, which is 1 doctor per population of 1,000 patients. To enter the private hospital, where they usually charge an arm away because they have to keep up with the global standard of providing the best care as possible, as they continually improve on leaps and balance both in equipment and height risk aspect. Hence, having an insurance nowadays is really important. Apart from saving up for golden retirement day, every person in Malaysia also should be saving for a medical emergency fund. You may following the healthiest regimen, but an unexpected turn of events such as an accident or terminal illness can be enough to wipe out your entire life saving. Thus, I do believe that by 2030, every person in Malaysia should have a proper health insurance coverage for both medical and life. Next, reduce illnesses and death from hazardous chemical and pollution is another objective that UN has stated. Next, reduce illness and death from hazardous chemicals and pollution is another objective that UN has stated. By 2030, the target is to substantially reduce the number of deaths and illnesses from hazardous chemicals in air, water, and soil pollution and contamination. Implement the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control is another objective that have been agreed on. Here, all countries are expected to strengthen the implementation of the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control in all countries as appropriate. The 11th objective of SDG 3 is to support research, development, and universal access to affordable vaccines and medicines. All countries involved should support the research and development of vaccines and medicines for the communicable and non-communicable diseases that primarily affect developing countries, provide access to affordable essential medicines and vaccines in accordance with the Doha Declaration of the Trade Agreement and Public Health, which affirms the right of developing countries to use to the full the provisions in the Agreement on Trade-related aspect of intellectual property right regarding flexibilities to protect public health and in particular provide access to medicines for all. Only half of women in developing regions receive the recommended amount of health care they need. In poor regions, the public healthcare system is often insufficient, and the private system is too costly to afford. For these reasons, some communities consider and adopt alternatives to mainstream medical assistance. Apart from that, another objective is to increase health financing and support health workforce in developing countries. All countries should substantially increase health financing and the recruitment, development, training, and retention of the health workforce in developing countries, especially in least developed countries and small islands developed states. Last but not least, for the target 3.D, the objective is to improve early warning systems for global health risk. Here, the target is to strengthen the capacity of all countries, in particular developing countries, for early warning, risk reduction, and management of national and global health risk. So, that's wrap up all the 13 targets and objectives in achieving SDG 3. Now, I'll pass the floor to Liana.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Norliana Rashid, and I will be presenting target groups. So, what are the target groups in SDG 3? Let's take a look at the first target groups, which is HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. So what is HIV? HIV is a virus that attacks cells that help the body fight infection, making a person more vulnerable to other infections and diseases. AIDS, on the other hand, is a late stage of HIV infection that occurs when the body's immune system is badly damaged because of the virus. Malaria is a serious, sometimes fatal disease that is spread by mosquitoes who have been infected by a parasite. The disease is spread when mosquitoes feed on humans. Well, 38 million people globally were living with HIV in 2019. This caused them to rely on HIV medicine, which is known as antiretroviral therapy or ART, so that they can live long and lead a healthy life. Since the COVID-19 epidemic, 75.7 million people have become infected with HIV since the start of the epidemic. On the other hand, children aged under 5 years old are the most vulnerable group affected by malaria. In 2019, they accounted of 67% of all malaria deaths worldwide. Over 6.2 million malaria deaths have been averted between 2000 and 2015, primarily of children under 5 years old in sub-Saharan Africa. The global incidence rate has fallen by an estimated 37% and the mortality rates by 58%. Without the HIV medicine, people with AIDS typically survive about 3 years. But if they encounter an opportunistic illness, life expectancy without treatment falls to about 1 year. It is because taking HIV medicine every day as prescribed stops the progression of the disease. And lastly, since the COVID-19 epidemic, 32.7 million people have died from AIDS-related illness since the start of epidemic. The second target group is child health. Child health includes physical, mental, and social well-being. Most parents know the basics of keeping children healthy. For example, offering them a healthy food, making sure they exercise regularly, and ensure their safety. 235 million of people suffer from asthma, and it is the most common non-communicable disease among children. Children have smaller airways compared to adults, which make asthma is a serious disease for them. Children with asthma may experience some kind of trouble breathing, wheezing, coughing, chest tightness, and trouble breathing, especially early in the morning or at night. Next, children in sub-Saharan Africa are more than 50 times more likely to die before the age of 5 compared to the children in higher income countries. It is because the children in sub-Saharan Africa have lacked access to simple, affordable intervention including immunization, adequate nutrition, lack of safe water and food, and quality care by a trained healthcare provider when needed. Next, in 2018, an estimated 6.2 million children and adolescents under the age of 5 years died, most probably from preventable cause, and of this death, 5.3 million occurred in the 5 years, with almost half of these in the first month of life. And lastly, malnourished children, particularly with severe acute malnutrition, have a higher risk from common disease such as diarrhea, pneumonia, and malaria. Nutrition-related factors contribute to about 55% of death in children under 5 years old. Next, maternal health. So what is maternal health? Maternal health refers to the health of women, pregnancy, childbirth, and the postnatal period. Each stage should be a positive experience, ensuring the safety of this woman. Over 40% of our countries have fewer than 10 medical doctors per 100,000 people. Over 50% of countries have fewer than 40 nursing and midwife personnel per 1,100 people. Ring women and their babies reach their full potential for health and well-being. Every day in 2017, approximately 110 women die from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth. So, what is missing? Skilled care during childbirth plus adequate access to emergency obstetric care. Young adolescent aged 10 to 14 years old face a higher risk of complication and death as a result of pregnancy than other women. It is because in lower and middle income countries, complications from pregnancy and childbirth are the leading cause of death. And 90% of all maternal deaths occur in low and lower middle income countries. This shows that maternal health mirrors the gap between the rich and the poor. According to World Health Organization, less than 1% of maternal deaths occur in high-income countries, and maternal mortality is higher in rural areas and among poorer and less educated communities. Let's proceed to the next target group, which is chronically ill and disabled people. People with chronic diseases are at risk at poor health outcome and consumes a lot of money rather than healthy individual. It is because they need to consume more medicine than usual to prolong their life expectancy. Without this medicine, they are unable to live their normal routine, thus reducing their life expectancy. About 80% of older adults have chronic diseases. These diseases include arthritis, cancer, diabetes, and heart diseases. Chronic disease can affect a person's ability to perform important activities, restricting their engagement in life, and also restrict their enjoyment with their friends and family. Disability disproportionately affect vulnerable population. Lower income countries have a higher prevalence of disability rather than higher income countries. Disability is more common among women, older people, and children and adults who are poor. This will cause them to have inequality to gain health care and also making them unable to live their life normally like an healthy individual. People with disabilities are disproportionately affected with the COVID-19 pandemic because of three factors. The first one, the increased risk of poor outcome from the disease itself, reduced access to routine health care and rehabilitation, and the adverse social impact of effort to mitigate the pandemic itself. The fifth target group will be low-income household and homeless individuals. Low-income households may be less likely to have coverage and as a result have less interaction with the healthcare system. In general, low-income individuals are more likely to have chronic illnesses and the impact of those illnesses can be more severe. People with low incomes are also disproportionately racial and ethnic minorities, and as a result, they will most likely forego the health care. Next, low-income individuals are more likely to have co-occurring conditions, meaning they might have behavioral health issues such as depression or substance use problems, as well as chronic medical conditions like obesity or diabetes. Homeless individuals may not have a safe place to stay that can expose them to a risk of adverse health-related outcome. These individuals are less likely to have a regular source of care and more likely to forego healthcare itself. Homeless children are at increased risk for having depression, attention deficit disorder, obesity, tooth decay, and poor school performance. It is because once they are homeless, their family tend to focus on these basic needs, food, clothing, and shelter before focusing to the healthcare itself. And lastly, the target group is LGBTQ+. So what is LGBTQ+? It refers to a community that stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and questioning or queer. The terms are being used to describe a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. LGBTQ+ community in Malaysia is considered as a taboo for many people because some of them are facing some discrimination and disparities. These people rather hide their status rather than coming out as they are afraid of being judged by other people. In relation to that, LGBTQ+ community also face health disparities, which is why this group is not being left behind in order to achieve the SDG 3. Nearly 1 in 5 members in the community avoid seeking medical care because they have faced or fear facing discrimination. Because of how society looks at them, it affects their healthcare, which they tend to make the decision to forego the healthcare. LGBTQ+ people are more likely to rate their health as poor and report more chronic conditions. They are at greater risk for being exposed to certain conditions, disease, and infection. 1 in 5 trans people has been denied health coverage simply because of their trans status. It is because when they are making a visit at the hospital, doctors routinely use abusive language and overly transphobic terminology, ignore the specific medical needs of trans and individuals, and often use shame and normative gender or sexual assumption to alienate these patients during visits. Beyond overt discrimination, more than half of trans individuals report encountering a significant lack of provider knowledge. A survey showed that more than 50% of respondents reported having to explain certain aspects of transgender-specific medical necessities to their healthcare providers. This knowledge gap keeps many trans people from accessing trans-specific medical procedures like hormone therapy or gender affirmation surgery. In conclusion, all these target groups deserve to get access to the healthcare, and all of people, regardless of ethnic background or from whether they are from low income or high income countries, or they are in different gender or sexual orientation, all of them deserve to receive the same healthcare so that we can ensure that all of us live in a healthy and better lifestyle.
Hi, my name is Umirah and I'll be presenting on the activities. So what do you think we can do in order to achieve SDG 3? Let's check it out. So the first activity that we can do is place ourselves on the organ and tissue donors registry in our country. In Malaysia, there are some questions went up in the air, namely, are organ donations halal? And the answer is yes. Organ donations are totally halal and even sanctioned by our religion. This is even echoed by our own Ministry of Health and JAKIM. So you don't have to wait until organ donations drive comes to your town. If you are interested in registering to grant the gift of life, this can be all done online. The second activity that we can do is to take care of our own mental health. There are a lot of ways that we can do in order to take care of our own mental health. For example, that we can do is meditate, talk to your friends or families, or even seek professional help. So the third activity is walk. What you need to do is walking, as it is good for our mind, body, soul, and even environment. And the easiest part in this activity is you don't need to be fit or young. The fourth activity that we can do is vaccinate yourself and your kids. By vaccinating ourselves and our family members, we can protect them from disease. Also, it's public health. Vaccination is an easy, safe, and efficient method of protecting people from life-threatening diseases. The fifth activity is find a goal. For example, what you can do is trying to find any charity that you want to support, especially during this pandemic incidents. In Malaysia, we have 21 verified Malaysian fundraisers for you to donate to in order to support COVID-19 relief efforts. For example, Kita Bantu Kita, NGO Hub Emergency Funds, and also free meals for frontliners. Remember, any donation, big or small, can even make a difference. Next is the sixth activity, which is donate your blood. Save blood, save life. The seventh activity is volunteer at a hospital. By doing this activity, you can support its operation and even increase the hospital's human capacity and productivity. The eighth activity is help rural or emergency areas with equal access to medicines. This is because not all people have equal access to medicines, especially in rural areas. You can also run a campaign to donate medicines that will be passed to rural areas or emergency areas. Next, what you can do is stay informed by following your local news. For example, due to the pandemic incident recently, the Malaysian government has made available the My Sejahtera application, which allows us to stay up to date on the latest news regarding the COVID-19 issues. This will be able to assist our country in achieving SDG 3, which is good health. Other than that, you can also share the facts about the global health with your family members and friends in order to encourage actions. It is quite easy because you can use your own social medias, for example Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitter, to share about the facts. Global health is significant because first, it aims to improve worldwide health. Second, it aims to improve the access to healthcare services. And third, it aims to improve healthcare quality for all. The 11th activity that you can do is you can write to local or national politicians to push for an action. Remember that everyone has their right to express their feelings and opinions. So the last activity is do medical checkup. The recommendation regarding the frequency of routine checkups are based on your age, risk factors, and current health status. While opinions vary, routine checkups with your doctor are generally recommended as follows. First, it is once every 3 years if you are under the age of 50 and in good health, and second, once a year if you turn 50. So it's better to prevent an illness than to have to treat it. That's why regular checkups are essentials. Routinely evaluating your risk factors for various medical conditions, screening for cancer and other diseases, and assessing your lifestyle habits helps you stay healthy while reducing your risk of chronic or life-threatening diseases. So that's the 12 activities that you can do in order to achieve SDG 3. What about the governments? How can the local governments solve the problems? There are a lot of ways that the local governments can do. For example, the first way is raising awareness in community for prevention. This is because a public awareness and education initiative is a good method of bringing of a particular issue to the attention of a large group of people. Next, the second way that the government can do is promote a healthy lifestyle. Hari Sukarnegara is a government-run program that is currently being implemented. Other than that is the Nutrition and the Malaysian Healthy Lifestyle Program. This is important as by joining these type of programs, the people will know more information regarding healthy lifestyle. So the governments must be able to implement a variety of programs in order to promote a healthy lifestyle among the people in this country. The third way that the governments can do is to improve services such as basic health services, waste management, hygiene in food chains, water and sanitations. This is because the governments might have the possibility to save the life of the people who die each year from diseases directly caused by the unsafe water, inadequate sanitation, and poor hygiene practices, as well as drastically to reduce undernutrition and to help to reduce physical and mental underdevelopment. Next is transport planning. Recently, there was a story in Sabah about 70-year-old woman needed to walk 100 kilometers in order to get the vaccines. So that is why transportation planning is critical because it will give a positive impact on our life. It is all about connecting people and businesses to other people, goods and services. Moreover, the governments also can promote connectivity in diverse neighborhoods because it increases the genetic diversity, which it increases the chances of species survival. Plus, the governments need to improve the quality and the safety of the public spaces. This is because the public spaces not only make the people feel better and safer, but they also can promote economic development. The quality of a place leads to connection, and connection leads to higher growth. So the last two things that governments can do are improve road safety and traffic management, as well as protect common goods such as soils, water, and natural environment.
Hi, I'm Navila and I'm going to continue this presentation. Alright, now let's take a look at the implication of SDG 3, short and long term. Over the last 15 years, the number of childhood deaths has been cut in half. This proved that it is possible to win the fight against almost every disease. Still, we are spending a large amount of money and resources on treating illness that are surprisingly easy to prevent. The new goal for worldwide good health promotes healthy lifestyle, preventive measures, and modern efficient healthcare for everyone. Let's start with short-term implications. Number 1. Everyone are able to access to safe and effective medicines and vaccines. It is as easy as going to any government hospital or clinics. Eventually, it leads to a better health environment. For example, during this COVID-19 pandemic, the Malaysian government has mentioned that everyone should have the opportunity to get vaccinated. In fact, as in May 2021, more than 1 million of people in Malaysia have successfully get vaccinated. This tells us that Malaysia is serious in the effort to improve healthcare access to its citizens. Then, number 2, free medicines at government hospitals for Malaysians. The government has spent a large number of subsidy for health sector. This is very good, especially for those who are with less income. Number 3, access to affordable essential medicines and vaccines. Other than government hospital and clinics, nowadays we have so many private health services. Then people can choose between public and private services depending on their ability to pay. Patients have little choice of doctor in the public hospital since this depends on the availability doctors working on a given day. However, people can choose their private doctor with a waiting time much shorter in the private than in the public system. Generally, people in Malaysia have good physical access to health facilities as 92% of the urban population live within 3 kilometers of a health facility and nearly 69% for the rural population. Next, for the fourth short-term implication of SDG 3 is low medical fee at government hospital for Malaysian. Every time we go to government hospital or clinic for medical services, we only need to pay RM1 and no charge will be given to senior citizens. Then, for the ward fee, Malaysians only need to pay RM3 per day for third classroom, RM60 for first classroom with 2 patients, and RM80 for individual first classroom. For those who are government officers, they can enjoy some special benefits. They are free of charge for third classroom, RM8 for first classroom for 2 patients, and RM10 for individual first classroom per day. Meanwhile, cheaper charges are given to government pensioners. The ward fee for them is free for third classroom, RM4 for first classroom with 2 patients, and RM5 for individual first classroom. Meanwhile, as for the treatment charge when you are warded, is free for those who are staying in third classroom, RM10 for both first classroom for 2 patients and individual first classroom per day. For government officers and government pensioners, there is no treatment charge for them while they are warded in government hospitals. Basically, this low fee provided for us enable Malaysians to get more access to health services. Number 6, mothers can give birth safely. Alright, as early as 12 weeks of pregnancy, all mothers can start going through checkup for her baby at their nearest government clinic for free. Then, they will have many future appointments and checkup after that. And this journey continue until the mother successfully deliver her baby. This has successfully enables a more safer pregnancy for the mothers as well as the delivery of the babies. Number 7, kids can get all their vaccines on time. Starting from the age of 1 month, the baby would have the opportunities to get their first vaccine. Then, the next vaccine will be when the baby is at the age of 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, and 18 months. As for the school children, they will get a vaccine at standard 1, 2 doses of HPV vaccine at Form 1, and 1 additional vaccine in Form 3. This situation enables everyone to be given the opportunity to get protection from preventable diseases. Okay, now let's explore about long-term implication of SDG 3. The first one is environment can be protected. Let's start with an obvious one. The SDG has been specifically created to draw attention to some of the biggest environmental challenges in the world today. Sanitation, sustainability, pollution, and climate action are all addressed. But of course, SDG is about more than awareness. SDG shows smaller ways to contribute towards climate action for the good of the planet. For example, educators can use these sub-targets to show their students the ways in which they can make an impact on improving the world that they live in. Next, healthier workforce and longer life expectancy. when each one of us is given the opportunity to access to a better health services which include essential medicines and vaccines, of course it will help in a longer life expectancy. In addition to that, it can reduce societal inequality. Malaysia affirms health as a fundamental human right, in that no one should be denied because of ethnicity, race, or religion. As mentioned earlier, every citizen is entitled with a very low fee of health services. Again, it would be much beneficial for those who are coming from a lower income background. Last but not least, it helps research institutions to expand their knowledge to overcome global health challenges. This is very important for our future, especially for our future generation. All the research need to be done in order for us to have a better shield for the future health challenges.
Ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being at all ages is essential to sustainable development. Currently, the world is facing a global health crisis unlike any other, COVID-19. COVID-19 is spreading human suffering, destabilizing the global economy, and upending the lives of billions of people around the globe. Before the pandemic, major progress was made in improving the health of millions of people. Significant strides were made in increasing life expectancy and reducing some of the common killers associated with child and maternal mortality. But more efforts are needed to fully eradicate a wide range of diseases and address many different persistent and emerging health issues. By focusing on providing more efficient funding of health system, improved sanitation and hygiene, and increased access to physicians, significant progress can be made in helping to save the lives of millions. The World Health Organization (WHO) has been leading the global effort to tackle COVID-19. The Strategic Preparedness and Response Plan produced by WHO and partners outlined the public health measures that countries should take to prepare for and respond to COVID-19. The strategy update of April 2020 provides further guidance for the public health response to COVID-19 at national and subnational levels and highlights the coordinated support that is required from the international community to meet the challenge of COVID-19. WHO, together with partners, also provide guidance and advice for people to look after their mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially health workers, managers of health facilities, people who are looking after children, older adults, people in isolation, and members of the public more generally. The pandemic is much more than a health crisis. It requires a whole of government and whole of society response, matching the resolve and sacrifice of frontline health workers. The COVID-19 has overshadowed developmental activities across the world. The global political, financial, and technical resources have been mobilized to contain COVID-19 pandemic. Impact of this pandemic shall be long-lasting, influencing all spheres of human lives and slowing all developmental activities, including ambitious sustainable development goals. According to the report, COVID-19 threatened to reverse the progress of SDG 3, which aims to ensure healthy lives and well-being for all. During the crisis, 70 countries has halted childhood vaccination programs, and in many places, health services for cancer screening, family planning, or non-COVID-19 infection diseases have been interrupted or are being neglected. Health service disruptions could reverse decades of improvement once the report allowing people to slip through these service gaps could affect population health for years to come. Combating COVID-19 pandemic is highest on the global agenda at present. Achievement of SDGs within the stipulated time frame of 2030 has become secondary. The duration of the ongoing pandemic cannot be predicted. The outcome and endpoint of pandemic remain uncertain. All SDGs are being impacted. Given their interconnected nature, health-related SDG 3 is also severely hit. SDG 3 is interwoven with and draw complementary from SDG 1 poverty, SDG 2 zero hunger, SDG 4 quality education, SDG 5 gender equality, SDG 6 clean water and sanitation, SDG 13 climate action, SDG 14 life underwater, SDG 15 life on land, and SDG 17 partnerships for goals. The sudden occurrence of COVID-19 has, as other pandemics did in the past, stonewalled achievements expected to be made through global collaborative efforts including SDGs. Achieving the transformative vision of the SDGs by 2030 requires a major realignment of most countries' national priorities towards long-term, cooperative, and drastically accelerate action.
Now let's look at the SDG 3 in terms of education. The Sustainable Development Goals, also known as SDGs, are designed to bring people together to improve life around the world. Created by the United Nations, they are a set of common goals to help us overcome the global challenges like poverty, inequality, climate change, and more. They also seek to harmonize three core components for the future like economic growth, social inclusion, and also environmental protection. SDGs have a huge part to play in today's classroom. As a blueprint for making the world a better place, these goals can help engage students and inform lesson plans. So, how to promote SDG 3 into curriculum and activity? Let's check it out. So first, the school can organize communal work or spring cleaning or gotong royong. By cleaning the environment with the mutual help, the environment will be clean. So the clean environment is the main thing in life. By having the clean environment, we can avoid various epidemics and diseases. Next, the school can add good health learning skills where it addresses the knowledge, attitudes, skills, and support that they require to act in healthy ways, develop healthy relationships, seek services, and also create healthy environments. Third, the school also can form an action team to work on all the components around healthy, and this action team will be responsible for monitoring the students' health progress as well as encouraging them to stay healthy. In addition, the school also can create healthy places to learn, work, and play. A healthy school teaches students to appreciate their own health, access to healthcare, healthy food, and physical activity, clean air and water, and education about making healthy choices are all essential components of a healthy environment. All students have the right to a safe and healthy environment, both inside and outside. Next, the school also can establish an essential club, such as Young Doctor Club, for the students to learn more about living a healthy lifestyle. This will be able to train the students to be more capable of dealing with healthy problems in their daily life. Other than that, the School Dental Service Program. The School Dental Service Program essentially provides a comprehensive range of dental services that address the oral health needs of school children in the community healthcare system. They boost access to care by directly providing preventive and restorative care to children and adolescents in a school setting. Oral health care for primary and secondary school children is provided by the School Dental Service, also known as SDS, which employs the incremental dental care approach, a coherent and detailed approach to care delivery with the ultimate goal of achieving orally fit status for the children. The school also can promote SDG 3 into curriculum and activities by doing Program Susu Sekolah. Program Susu Sekolah, also known as PSS. This program is designed for students from low-income families with low socioeconomic status allowing them to eat a balanced diet while in school. The program also aims to improve primary school students' health and nutrition in order to improve their physical growth, mental health, and also overall health. Furthermore, the school also can establish immunization health services. And from what we can see, we already have free immunization health services that already available in schools before this, such as measles, mumps, rubella vaccination, or also known as MMR. Free immunization health services in schools will benefit low-income families and may even prevent disease transmission among children. The school can also develop a variety of programs. For example, prior to this, we used to have the PROSTA program, or also known as Program Sihat Tanpa AIDS untuk Remaja, in which students were trained to carry out various activities involving HIV or AIDS education to other adolescents. And the other program is Program Bebas Dengue in schools. And last but not least, for academic related, geography and science lessons can be enriched by discussing climate change subjects, such as the causes and effects of the increase in average global temperature, or how climate change is creating natural disasters like tsunamis and tropical cyclones. Biology lessons also could examine not only the cellular study of viruses and diseases, but also the societal factors that allow them to thrive, such as inadequate access to medication and education.